Good morning, Scotland. Good morning, social media land. I hope you are well. It is Thursday, the 18th of September, 2026, 11 years after our referendum. Why are we still stuck in a both votes cycle? Why are we still looking at things from a 2011 point of view? Why aren't we evolving? I'm going to have a look at that just now. I'm going to have a look at John Swinney's resolution and the Tweeddale Amendment and the wider movement as a whole, all in one video. I hope you watch this to the end because it's not often I get to do videos just now. I don't have the energy to do them. And this one is quite important. John Swinney's resolution pretends to be bold, but it's stuck in 2011. The pitch is the same tired line: both votes SNP, win a majority of MSPs, then ask Westminster for a Section 30. That worked once because the political circumstances were completely different. Scotland had just elected the first ever SNP majority. The Unionists were complacent and they thought agreeing to a referendum would kill independence for a generation. Back then, the SNP was the only real party of independence. It isn't anymore. The movement has grown, it has evolved, and while the people have moved forward, the SNP is not. That moment, that 2011 moment, has gone. Since then, the ground has shifted. We've lived through Brexit, austerity, the pandemic, and the Supreme Court judgment that slammed the door shut on Holyrood legislation for any kind of referendum without Westminster's consent. Tory and Labour governments alike have refused every mandate since. London has learned its lesson. They will not grant another Section 30. So what does Swinney's plan really offer? It's not a path forward. It's an illusion of movement while standing still. Worse, it doubles down on the old both votes SNP mantra, wasting list votes and closing the door on working with allies. Those who understand the DeHont system already know this. Those that don't should take the time to educate themselves, because without that knowledge, it's all too easy to be taken in by the blindness of a both vote strategy. Swinney's resolution is the same old SNP approach: recycle 2011, pretend it's new, and lead the movement down another dead end. Enter the Tweeddale branch with an explosive amendment backed by Oban, Lorne and Helensburgh, and now more than 30 SNP branches across the country, with more branches joining every day. These are not fringe voices. They are patriotic Scots, sovereign Scots, members who have given years of service to the party and to the cause of independence. The media and some within our own party have been quick to sneer and call them rebels. But let's be clear, these are not rebels. And those in the SNP who reach for that insult should look hard in the mirror, because it makes them sound exactly like the unionist establishment dismissing their own members in the same way that unionists dismiss the SNP. What these branches propose is simple, bold and rooted in people's sovereignty. The 2026 Holyrood election must be treated as a plebiscite election. The mandate will come not from parties' seat count, but from the sum of all the pro-independence votes on the regional list. This means that every Scot who casts their list vote for independence, whether they're SNP, Alapa, Greens or an independent, is counted in the national tally for yes, the way it should be. And this amendment doesn't stop there. It commits to the building blocks we've been crying out for: a target date for independence, a provisional government to oversee the preparations, and an independence delivery unit to make it happen. This is not empty rhetoric. It's a plan that finally makes 2026 the independence election. What makes the Tweeddale Amendment so powerful is that it isn't just a few branches kicking up dust. It echoes what the wider independence movement has been saying. Across Scotland, the demand is growing for 2026 to be a plebiscite election, measured by the people's votes, not by Westminster's permission. Take Alapa. Their policy couldn't be clearer. The regional list votes should be treated as the independence vote. A majority of Scots using their list vote for independence parties equals a mandate to negotiate, simple, transparent, and rooted in democracy. Gordon McIntyre Kemp from Believe in Scotland has said the same at rallies. 2026 must be a plebiscite. If independent parties win a majority of the vote, then Scotland has spoken. No ifs, no buts, no Section 30, no begging letters. It's not only Alapa and Believe in Scotland. You have the ISP and Liberate Scotland, who have been building towards the same end. Their campaigns focus on the list ballot as the people's channel to express yes. And they've been working with allies to ensure that the vote is maximised. And beyond parties, civic groups, grassroots campaigners have long argued for the approach. All under one banner, Bella Caledonia and countless local yes groups have hammered home the same truth. The popular vote is what counts, not the seat arithmetic of Holyrood's chamber. Back in 2011, the SNP stood alone as the party of independence. That is no longer the case. The movement has grown, it has diversified, and it has found its own voice. It's only SNPHQ that still cling to the old Section 30 route. Everyone else, branches, allies, Civic Scotland, is converging on the same idea. The people are moving forward. Tweeddale's amendment shows the party base is moving with them. The wider movement accepts the truth. Westminster will never willingly grant another Section 30. It's only the SNP leadership that still pretends otherwise. And this isn't just political common sense. It's been nailed down in a courtroom and ruled by the Supreme Court. In November 2022, the Supreme Court ruled unanimously that Holyrood cannot legislate for a referendum on independence, not even a consultative one. In the court's own words, even an advisory referendum would be a political event with important political consequences. And that is exactly why it was banned, because our voice matters too much. No matter how many times the SNP wins seats, Westminster will not grant another referendum. Tory and Labour governments alike have refused mandate after mandate. The court confirmed what we already knew in domestic law: the referendum route was closed. But the court also admitted something crucial. It acknowledged that the democratic voice of the Scottish people cannot be dismissed. Even an advisory vote, it said, would weaken or strengthen the union's legitimacy. That recognition is the key. If a referendum is barred, that means the only lawful channel left is the ballot box in ordinary elections. And that is where the regional list vote comes in. It's not just another tick on a ballot paper. It's the clearest, most deliberate way Scots can use their vote to say yes to independence. Constituency votes will always be tangled up in party loyalties and local factors. The list vote is different. It separates government choice from constitutional choice. A cross on that ballot for a party or a candidate committed to independence is not just political, it's constitutional. So what happens if the people of Scotland use their list vote to say yes? The answer is simple. We create a mandate that cannot be shrugged off. This is not about grinding out small gains or waiting for another chance years down the line. It's about the movement coming together, recapturing the energy of 2014, but with even greater force. Every party, every group, every individual who believes in Scotland's right to choose adds their voice on the list ballot. All those voices are gathered into one powerful, undeniable yes. That mandate isn't limited to SNP voters or even traditional independence parties. It includes everyone in Scotland who wants independence, even those who might still be voting for unionist parties and constituencies. On the list ballot, they too can put their cross beside independence. Every pro-independence vote on the list, no matter which party or candidate carries it, counts towards the national tally for yes. And the impact of that yes vote is huge. Internationally, it provides clear evidence that Scotland has chosen independence through a lawful, democratic election. Domestically, it creates a crisis of legitimacy for Westminster. A union that ignores a people's vote for freedom exposes itself as not voluntary, but enforced. Nobody says the day after will bring independence, not overnight, but it will bring something more powerful, a mandate rooted in the people, undeniable at home and abroad, and strong enough to push us forward. That is why 2026 must be our plebiscite election, and that's why the list vote is the lawful yes vote. In 2026, Scotland cannot afford another dead end. Swinney's resolution is a stale promise of a Section 30 that will never come. The Tweeddale Amendment offers something different, a route to put the people's sovereignty first, but it only becomes the party's fighting policy if conference passes it. And now it comes down to the SNP voting delegates. Delegates must choose party or cause, hegemony of power, or the liberty of their nation. The Tweeddale Amendment is the line in the sand. Back it, and you open the door to a united movement, a possible plebiscite election where the list vote becomes Scotland's lawful yes. Reject it, and you condemn us to 5 more wasted years. If delegates back Tweeddale, the movement can come together again. SNP members, ALPA, Greens, ISPs, independent civic groups, local yes hubs, and every single Scot that believes in independence, even unionists. That is how we recapture the energy of 2014 and turn it into a mandate that the world can't ignore. That's why the list vote must be our yes vote. That is why the delegates from the SNP must vote for the Tweeddale Amendment. And that's why 2026 must be the independence election Scotland has been waiting for. Thank you for watching. Goodbye and good luck.
You can try.